Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking Transformers, and most specifically Bumblebee the movie, which is set for release in December of 2018, and today I'm asking you the question, who did it better? Michael Bay or Travis Knight? Now I'm not asking you which film you prefer or which story you prefer, because of course that would be unfair. We have not seen Travis Knight's completed vision just yet. We will see it in cinemas this December. But one thing we can judge, one thing we can have a fair opinion on, is which version of Bumblebee in terms of look and design do we prefer? Who did it better? So do you prefer the version which we saw from Michael Bay's franchise, which looked like this? And of course, this version took a few changes over the years, but overall it was the same kind of design. Very sharp, very sleek, and sometimes could be called a little bit overcomplicated. Or do you prefer the more simple approach when it comes to a version of Bumblebee with what we've got now with Travis Knight? So that's the question I'm putting to you. And I remember when we first got to see Travis Knight's vision, we saw it in a head sculpt for one of the figures for Bumblebee the movie. So it was a very early development of what Bumblebee was going to look like, and of course we had not seen teaser trailer 1 at that point. And I remember the feedback being, oh no, it still looks like Bay's vision. And I also remember people saying that they weren't keen on the more simple design. Now I think many people who had that feeling initially took that back after they saw teaser trailer 1, because of course the initial design which we saw was from a figure, and you know, it was always going to look much better when we saw the CG version. And in teaser trailer 1, I think it maybe made people think different, because you got to understand what Travis Knight was going for. He's going for a film which is built on relationships and, you know, driving a connection with the human cast and the robot cast, and he wants Bumblebee to have that vulnerability about him. And I think this design gives you that, because for me it's all within the eyes. They are much bigger, they stand out more, and I think they are the key point for me, which makes me identify more with this version of Bumblebee. It definitely gives off that emotional feel, because in teaser trailer 1, when Bumblebee transforms, he seems to be scared, disorientated, he steps back, he ducks down, he tries to cover his face, but his eyes are clearly visible, and it's the sparkle in his eyes. It's like, you know, it's what Transformers is all about, more than meets the eye, and it's that sparkle in the eye which Travis Knight has clearly wanted, which gives you that magical feeling about Bumblebee. And that's something I don't feel that we've had with a version of Bumblebee in Michael Bay's franchise. He has tried to give us elements of, you know, connection with Bumblebee. However, overall in terms of design, I think Bay's vision was more to just be cool. You know, it looks cool. It's a Camaro transforming into a robot. I want it to look cool, I want it to look slick, I want it to look sharp. And in having sharp pieces, it can get overcomplicated. The Volkswagen Beetle, on the other hand, you know, it's a more rounded vehicle, and you can see that with the head sculpt of B, and more rounded kind of sometimes makes it more friendly. So I completely understand what Travis Knight was going for, and I feel that that could be the major reason why I prefer the Travis Knight design. And this is my personal opinion, because I feel like Paramount, Hasbro, Travis Knight have sat down and talked about everything that they want to get from this Bumblebee movie and what they want to do with Bumblebee. And of course, you know, there's plenty of things when it comes to a Transformers film that many don't think about. The marketing, the toys, you know, it has to be, you know, sellable to the audience. And just being a cool Transformers film with some epic moments, yeah, that sells to a degree, but it also limits what Transformers is all about. And I think that Paramount have kind of worked that out now. And when they were going for this design of Bumblebee, they were going for a process of ticking the box. And I think what they did was they said, does it identify in terms of emotion? Yes, it does. Will it appeal to different audiences and age groups? Yes, it does. It definitely appeals to kids much more than Michael Bay's version did, even though there were toys and figures of Bumblebee. This one just seems to me to be more kid orientated. Does it have that vulnerability which we need because we've never had enough emotion in a Transformers film? Yes, it does. And of course, does it appease the fans of old with G1? Well, yes, because he has a vehicle mode of a Volkswagen Beetle, and I think if you look more closely at the robot design, for those that just think, oh, it's just a spin-off of Bay's version, well, it could be that, because it's meant to be a prequel. But I do think as well there was inspiration taken from G1 by giving it that simplified form. If you look at Bumblebee from G1, there does appear to be some elements thrown in there. So I just think that the thought process was much more than just making a Transformer look cool. And if you kind of look at the Bay vision over the years, it never really had a major connection through the years with Bumblebee. It was more or less, you know, if you go and look at Transformers Age of Extinction, a drastic change to Bumblebee in terms of his battle mask. You know, his battle mask was very futuristic in that film, and then they took a step back when we got to Transformers The Last Knight. So it was almost like, try and make it look cool, and then try and make it even cooler. Oh no, I didn't like that. Let's take a step back. So I just kind of feel like that's maybe the thought process of one director and the thought process of another. I could be wrong. I could be. But I kind of feel it's that way. So I want to get your views and opinions on this, and I think you can kind of work out for yourself which version I prefer. And I am no way knocking what Michael Bay did, because yeah, those Transformers looked cool. But another thing about these versions that Travis Knight has come up with is they're much more easier on the eye. So when the action is kicking off, you've got the bright yellow of B standing out, and although you could tell it was Bumblebee in Michael Bay's films, like I said, that sharpness and, you know, the overcomplicatedness of his designs, that can kind of get lost in battle. Whereas these stand out, and you can even take that away with Shatter and Dropkick. The colours are very bold, and again, I think you can identify if there was a battle sequence that it's Bumblebee versus Shatter, it's Bumblebee versus Dropkick, it's Bumblebee versus Blitzwing. Whereas I think in Bay's franchise, sometimes you just couldn't work it out, and it's out and out Bayhem. But that's the way Michael Bay likes it. So anyway, I want to get your views and opinions on this. Who did it better? I want to see if there's a divide with the fandom, or if it's out and out just straight prefer Travis Knight, or if it's out and out straight prefer Michael Bay. So let me know in the comments section below. I think I've made my views perfectly clear. I just think there's a lot more to it when it comes to Travis Knight's vision. I think it's much more well thought out, and it does do everything that this and a Transformers film should do. It should appeal to multiple ages. It should identify with kids too. It should also have a emotionally driven story, and of course Bumblebee is supposed to be one of the most loved characters, so we should have a connection to him. We should be able to draw a bit of love from Bee, and sometimes Bumblebee in Michael Bay's franchise was just an out and out badass. That's not to say that's a bad thing. Anyway, get involved in the comment section below, and all that's left to be said is who did it better, Michael Bay or Travis Knight? And please rate, comment and subscribe. This is Delzinski signing out.